Same as last week, very grateful for every consideration, grateful for the opportunities, grateful to D'Amico, to Nick, to the Texans organization, for giving me this opportunity. But right now, I couldn't tell you what's going on. I'm entirely locked in on the Ravens. I know coming up here pretty soon, that process is going to start pretty quick, but I'm going to cross that bridge when I get to it right now. Right now, I'm just Baltimore. I wouldn't say it's old hat, but I'd say he's proven that it shouldn't be a surprise by this point in the year. He's progressed and built through the year, a great rapport with the coaching staff, with the offensive players, with the team. And he's very confident, and I think that shows every time he steps on the field. And it was no different against Indianapolis, which was really a playoff game for us, and it was no different last Saturday. And I would expect that to continue no matter where we play. He's proven big games don't faze him. I wonder if his heart rate drops. He's a special individual in that way. It's been really fun to be a part of. Their defense is really good. You're absolutely correct in that regard. Good at every level, which is rare, I feel like, when you go against a defense and from the front to the backers to the back end. They're good across the board. You got to earn everything. Schematically, they're really good. I think Mike does a great job there. So we know we got a challenge in front of us. But then, circling back to week one, and we kind of used it a little bit on offense as a little bit of a rallying cry. We couldn't get out of our own way in that game. We couldn't even really get the ball down and set to snap it to even feel like we played, and that starts with me, and it starts with coaches. And we kind of changed what we did from after that point on. I think we evolved as an offensive unit and as a group from that point on. But then in between getting in our own way there, CJ, when the ball was snapped and we were able to be where we needed to be and I got out of the way, CJ did some special stuff in that game that you don't always see a rookie quarterback do in his first game out there on the road, when you have to deal with crowd noise and good players on the other side and everything that's going on. Yeah, he was awesome once we were able to get into a rhythm. But that game, we didn't get into a rhythm. And then from there, it was unfortunate at the time, but it really set the table for what we became as the year went, and we grew a lot from there. So it was awesome to see the glimpses, and then now they've just become significantly more consistent. With that, and I use the phrase rock my boat a little bit, just because, I started with the 505, and it's the first game we've had here under this scheme, and you need to start at the 101, and we didn't do that, and we didn't really even give anybody a chance. And after that, we kind of changed how we were approaching some things, how we coached some things, how we were setting some things up. And the other part of it is in that game, I think we all got a really clear picture of what we were really good at, as an offense and as specific individuals on the offense. And guys have just grown from there. They've expanded what they're good at. They've amplified the things that they showed in that game that they can do really well. And that really kind of, like I said, set the table for the rest of the year. From that point on, we've had a pretty focused vision for what we want to do on offense, and I think everybody's been on the same page in that regard. Yeah, I'd say the one thing that jumps out when you're watching the last 2 months of film of the Ravens is there are a lot of games that are out of hand in the fourth quarter. I want to say there were 2 games maybe that were competitive in the last month late in the game. The Rams jumps out to me, and Cleveland had to claw their way back in that one, so that there were a lot that were out there. I don't think it was just Miami and San Francisco, but it's helpful, not necessarily in how they're going to attack us, because I think a lot of times on defense, just as much as you're attacking the scheme, you're attacking people. But it helps a lot to get similar looks. That's where it becomes really beneficial. A lot of different offenses align in different ways. Some teams are really condensed formations. Some teams are really wide formations. Some teams motion a lot. Some teams don't. And it just lets you get looks at how they play certain things and make certain adjustments, and then we see if we can take advantage of that. Yeah, we're going operation as normal. I probably would have adjusted things if maybe yesterday's practice went a little different, but it didn't really affect anybody. It's just a little colder, ball's a little harder. So we went out there and everything operated fine. It's always a mix. It's always both. You could have great players and not necessarily be used in the best way. And you could still be good, but maybe, lack turnovers, or maybe you rely on turnovers and you're not as good consistently down in, down out. or it could go the other way. You could have a great scheme, and maybe you need some more elite players across the board to help you out there. But I think Baltimore has both. I think they go hand in hand. They got guys that really command what they do. I think it's a very smart system, a smart scheme. What they do, they make it hard. They try to get you to situational football, which I really think is going to be key to the game. Third downs, red zone, short yardage, stuff like that. And when you stack drives together, they extend drives long enough. Like, it's hard to get chunks. So they extend drives long enough where eventually they force you, to try to make a throw into a tight area. And they got guys that are fast, rangy, big. I mean, all of it. And they can all make plays on the ball. They all consistently make plays on the ball. So I think it all goes hand in hand. The deceptive looks definitely are part of what we're talking about, especially when we get to situational football, making sure we have command of what's going on there, talking to the quarterback about when is the right time to maybe push it and when's the right time where they got us on this one and we got to make sure we protect the team. And I think there's a balance there when you go against a really good defense like this. Nothing's really been different. I mean, he's been a steady build all the way through the year. I think his confidence just keeps growing and growing and growing. He gets a little more outgoing as he gets a little more comfortable. But really, Nico's been the same guy he's been all year. He's just getting angrier, that's all, which keep getting angrier, please. We changed pretty much immediately after our Week 1 Baltimore game, kind of how we were attacking and approaching some things. Our conversations have always been the same. It just takes time. And I know CJ is the ultimate preparer. He's not a rookie in that regard. He's a rookie in that every lesson he learns, he really tries hard to bank. Like he puts a lot into making a mistake and making sure he doesn't make the same mistake twice. But he prepares like a vet. He prepares like someone who's been in the league 6, 7, 8 years. And that speeds up all our conversations. Like I feel like I'm talking to another coach. So our back and forth are usually pretty quick. He understands what I'm saying. I understand what he's saying. We understand how to communicate quickly. And if we want to make an adjustment and kind of find a middle ground, sometimes we'll find a middle ground. That part really just took time. And the more we grew in our rapport, similar to the rest of the offense with CJ, it just became tighter and clearer what we wanted to do. Yeah, I think it's huge. Confidence is big in the NFL. You're surrounded by a whole lot of people that are really good at what they do, and they're the best in the world at what they do. And confidence plays a big role in that. And I think everybody knows what Mechie's been through. And it was awesome that he was able to come back for camp, and unfortunately had to grind through some things in camp. And then he comes back during the season, and he's still grinding. And you can just see. He took, 18 months or something like that off football. Like, you could see that in his legs, and there's not much you could do. He worked his tail off, and he's continued working to kind of get his legs back under him, get some strength back, be able to fight through some contact. His routes became sharper and sharper. He put a lot of time in to make sure he got to where he is now, and that's not easy. It's like he showed up and was able to step on the field again, and you kind of think the battle's over, but then it's not. You got to keep going, and that's what's been really unbelievable to watch. Is he never stops. It's constant how he's trying to work, how he's trying to grow, and it was really awesome to see that kind of bear some fruit there in the game on Saturday. That was a big time play he made down the sidelines. I know his carry was a big carry. Like he's always been reliable in our run game. He's been one of our best run game blockers. What he's done for this team, I think a lot of people have noticed. It's really been an inspiration to all of us. Yeah, I don't think you ever fully get comfortable. There's always a little bit of some urgency, some making sure you're crossing all your I's, or crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's, all that good stuff. I don't think you're ever fully there, but I think what really makes you confident is when you just have complete faith and belief in the group you're coaching. That really, I feel like we could roll out there and I can call anything, and they are going to find a way to make it work, and that's really what's been fun. That's what's been empowering. They're all in on what we want to do. I mean, it's the offensive group and kind of where we are right now is I think they're playing really good football, and they're all kind of special people. We've come a long way all the way across the board. We've had a lot of people in and out through the season, and really everyone's just bought into continuing to get better, and now, as coaches, we kind of sit back and we watch, and it's entirely a player-led offense, and they just go out and they play awesome football. It's been fun to be a part of.